there, today we are going to do a super fun leopard print rhinestone tumbler. If you are new here, my name is Allison and I post weekly tumbler tutorials. To this day, my original rhinestone video continues to be the most popular video on my channel. So I've done a few other rhinestone tumblers, but now this one is a little bit different and I'm so excited to show you how to do it. I am using a 10-ounce stubby style tumbler for this project. If you are new to rhinestones, these are absolutely perfect. They are straight and they are small, so it's a really good entry-level tumbler from those of you that are starting out. I'm gonna link my favorite supplies that I use underneath this video, plus some discount codes, so make sure you check those out. Let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I'm using 4mm glass stones. These are blue, they are flat back glass rhinestones, and they are the 4mm or SS16 size. You want to make sure that you start by prepping your tumbler. Sand it, get that factory coating off of it, and I am going to base coat with a similar color to my stones. I am using the CrystaLac Flippin' Awesome Paint, which is a primer, paint, and top coat all in one. They give amazing coverage, and they work really, really well to base coat your rhinestone tumblers. You want to do a light coat and let it dry for 4 hours. Try your best to minimize the amount of brush strokes. You are going to be covering this paint up with your rhinestones, but it does help to move a little quickly and use a makeup brush like the one I'm using here to get nice clean coverage. Let it dry for 4 hours, and then I actually went in with a second coat. You can decide based on the coverage that you have if you want a second coat or not. Some of this color will, poke through those stones, but the stones will be covering up the vast majority of this paint. So I did a second coat and I let it dry overnight before I started my rhinestones. So this paint does have top coat in it. I still like to do a few coats of bright tone before I add my rhinestones. It just gives it a little extra level of protection when you're talking about using something every single day, and the washing of it, I think it just creates for a longer lasting product if you add a few coats of bright tone ahead of time. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. I just know I'm about to spend 10 plus hours on this tumbler, so I want to make sure that it is longest lasting possible. So you don't have to add a top coat, but it does help prolong the life of your tumbler. Once that was dry, I added my vinyl spots. I will put the file that I got on Creative Fabrica down below, but I just cut out black permanent vinyl with my silhouette. You could also use a Cricut machine if that's what you have instead. I just like to evenly space out those leopard spots, and then we can apply our stones. For this particular tumbler, I am using a needle nose squeeze bottle so I can add my glue to the tumbler. I use super tight fusion tack. It works really, really well. It comes out white but dries clear, and it is completely non-toxic. The first row of your stones is the most important. It sets the foundation, and you really need to take your time when adding your stones on your first row because you need them to be straight. If you put on your first row crooked, then your whole tumbler is going to be crooked. So do about 2 inches at a time, 1 to 2 inches at a time, otherwise your glue is going to start to dry. All of the supplies I'm using for this process will be linked underneath this video. Just go through, add a little bit of glue, and place your stones around the top rim. Use your finger and your wax pen tool to just make sure it is nice and straight. Make sure you go all the way around the tumbler. And when you get to the last section, you want to hopefully have your rhinestones evenly spaced. If they don't fit all the way around, like there's a gap in between your last 2 stones, you can kind of go back in and like the last inch or two, kind of spread them out just a little bit. It does help to have that first row be as full as possible. So moving into the second row, you don't have any issues. So the trick here is to get it all nice and straight and place it upside down on a table or on a coaster or whatever. Get it nice and straight. You can see I'm kind of pushing down the stones to be on the table, and I'm going to let this dry completely. You want it to be completely dry before you go in with your second row because you don't want those stones to move. Once you press up a whole new set of stones, you risk moving that first row and making everything crooked. So make sure you let that first row dry before you go in with the second set of stones. I am doing the honeycomb method, which means that all I'm doing is placing each stone kind of in between the two stones above it. They kind of fit nice and snug in that little pocket between stones. And this just ensures that you have two straight rows. You can see here that they're not like directly on top of each other. You have two stones on top and one underneath. If you have vinyl spots like I do, you can just work around those leopard print. You can see in that second row, I just didn't put a stone there because my vinyl was in the way. You're gonna work your way down the entire tumbler. There's a reason why I'm using this 10-ounce stubby. It is smaller and faster, and you do want to have a straight style tumbler. It's way easier than doing something with a taper. So if you want to use like a 20-ounce skinny straight or a 30-ounce skinny straight, go ahead. I like the 10-ounce, especially if you are new. This process took me about 10 hours to complete this whole tumbler. So a bigger tumbler is just going to take longer. Once you fill up your entire tumbler with your blue or whatever color that you're using, you can go in and apply your black stones to the vinyl. I bought that variety pack on Amazon, so I have a various size stones, and all I'm doing is picking them randomly and filling in my leopard spot. You don't need it to be absolutely perfect. It's okay if you don't cover every single little spot of the vinyl, but do a little bit at a time because, again, it takes longer to apply smaller stones, right? So if you're going to put on 25 small stones, it's going to take a little bit longer. So work with a smaller area with your glue. But it's okay if some of the vinyl shows through. Once you're done, you really won't be able to tell like what's vinyl and what's a rhinestone. So go through and add your black stones to every single leopard spot on this tumbler. And then you can fill in the gaps between your leopard spots and anywhere around your tumbler. I got this variety pack as well is from where I got them. Actually, she doesn't sell rhinestones anymore, so I will link an alternative place underneath this video. But you're just going to apply your stones in and around each leopard spot. Now, remember, bigger stones are easier to place and faster to place, but you sometimes don't really have a choice, right? You're just going to fill in all of the spaces with whatever stones will fit. That is why I like this variety pack, because I always can find the right size stone. And you're going to do the inside of the leopard spot as well as around the outside. If there's any space between like the black vinyl and your blue stones, if you can fit a small rhinestone in there, do it, because it will look better. The more full and the more rhinestones that you have, the better this is going to look. So just continue this process all the way around the tumbler, placing your stones anywhere that your cup needs it. The other thing I wanted to point out was where this lip kind of starts at the bottom. My rhinestones didn't, fully line up with that lip. So I did go underneath it and finish those last 3 rows using that lip as a straight edge. But because there was kind of a gap there, I went in with a little bit of glue and placed stones, a smaller set of stones in between those 2 rows. I was hoping it would look fine, but it really didn't. The gap was very, very noticeable. So I went in and placed individual stones around that entire row, and it looked so much better when I was done. So this is a very time-consuming process, but it is fun to do and honestly not that bad to do like while you're watching a show or something. Once you get your rhinestones fully on, there's nothing else you need to do. Do not put a top coat over the top of your rhinestones. It will dull the finish. You're using a permanent glue, so you do not need to do anything when you are done. You do need to let it dry for about 5 days, 3 to 5 depending on the glue that you're using, and then you are okay to start using it. You want to make sure that you hand wash your tumblers and just treat them with care. It is a time-consuming, heartfelt process to get these done, but look at how amazing they are in the end. If you want to see a tumbler where I do sort of a combo of glitter and rhinestones, click that video on your screen.